Welcome, dreamer. You're listening to Evernight Stories, a quiet place for gentle tales and peaceful dreams. Make yourself comfortable. It's time to rest. Before we begin, if these calm moments mean something to you, consider subscribing so the next story finds you easily. Tonight, let's step once more inside the Morning Hearth, a quiet bakery where rain meets warmth and gentle mornings unfold like memory. The rain outside drifts lightly, tapping against the window in a soft, wandering rhythm. Beyond the glass, golden leaves swirl through the cool autumn air, spiraling in little circles before gathering by the doorstep. Inside the bakery, lamps glow in quiet amber pools along the wooden counters and rows of polished jars. A low warmth comes from the oven, where roasted pumpkin fills the room with its sweet, earthy scent. Somewhere near the hearth, Bram stirs in his blanket, a sleepy rustle, a small sigh, as if recognizing the comfort of pumpkin mornings. The world is unhurried here. The day will begin slowly, with cinnamon in the air and leaves brushing softly at the window. The front door gives a gentle creak as Clara turns the key, pushing it open just enough for the cool morning air to slip inside. A handful of golden leaves ride in with the breeze, skittering softly across the boards before settling at her feet. She smiles and bends to gather them, their edges crisp, their colors warm and deep, honey gold, russet brown, a touch of fading green. She places them in a small woven basket by the door, a habit she's grown fond of each autumn. One by one she lights the lamps. Each flame blooms into honey-colored light, spilling warmth across the wooden counters and waking the sheen on copper hooks and glass jars. The bakery seems to stretch gently beneath the glow, like a house stirring from sleep. Behind her, Bram lifts his head from his blanket. His ears twitch at the soft footsteps and the quiet rustle of leaves. He doesn't rise just yet. He simply watches her, tail giving a slow, content sweep against the floorboards. Clara draws the curtains halfway, letting the muted daylight and drifting leaves remain in view. The world outside feels cool and restless, but inside, the bakery begins to fill with warmth, a promise of a calm, cinnamon-scented morning. Clara moves toward the stove, her slippers brushing softly against the wooden floor. The kettle sits waiting, cool and still, its metal catching a faint shimmer of lamplight. She fills it with fresh water, the gentle splash echoing in the quiet room. When she sets it on the flame, a soft whisper rises as heat begins to breathe through the metal. On the counter beside her, a small bowl holds autumn spices she prepared the night before: ground cinnamon, freshly grated nutmeg, a hint of clove that warms the air even before it's mixed. She lifts the bowl and inhales slowly. The scent wraps around her like a familiar shawl. Clara reaches for her favorite ceramic cup, one with a faint swirl of violet glaze around the rim. She spoons in a blend of black tea and dried pumpkin flakes, their colors rich and earthy. The kettle begins its first gentle murmur. Steam curls from the spout in a slow, rising thread. Outside, a leaf taps the window, then glides downward in a graceful spiral. When she pours the water, the tea blooms instantly, amber deepening into gold, spice lifting into the air like warm breath. Clara closes her eyes for a moment, letting the scent settle in her chest, steady and reassuring. Bram shifts on his blanket, a soft rustle followed by the gentle thump of an old tale, finding enough energy for a slow, contented wag. Clara turns just in time to see him rise, stretching long and low, his paws sliding forward as his back arches into a drowsy curve. He pads across the floor toward her, each step leaving a faint whisper of sound against the boards. The warmth gathering near the stove seems to guide him, drawing him closer with its gentle promise. "Good morning," Clara murmurs, her voice low and warm as she crouches to meet him. Bram leans into her touch, pressing his head beneath her hand as though he's been waiting all night for this moment. His fur smells faintly of sleep and wood smoke from the hearth's slow embers. She scratches behind his ears, feeling the steady thump of his tail against her knee. For a moment, she simply stays there, letting his presence ground her in the softness of the morning. A breeze stirs at the door, sending a few leaves dancing across the threshold. The movement catches Bram's eye. He turns his head, ears perked, then settles again when nothing follows. Clara rises, and Bram curls beside the counter where the warmth gathers, eyes half closed, breath slow. The scent of pumpkin and cinnamon seems to soothe even him into deeper calm. Clara sets her cup aside and pulls a small tray of roasted pumpkin from the oven. Its edges caramelized, its color deep as late autumn leaves. A warm, earthy sweetness fills the air, wrapping itself around the soft glow of the lamps. She scoops the pumpkin into a wide ceramic bowl and begins to mash it with the back of a wooden spoon. The motion is slow, steady, a rhythm she's known since childhood. Each press releases more warmth, more of that mellow scent that feels like comfort made visible. Flour drifts into the bowl in a pale cloud, rising briefly in the lamplight before settling like soft snow. Clara stirs gently, the wooden spoon moving through thickening gold. A sprinkle of cinnamon, a touch of nutmeg, a whisper of clove. The spices bloom immediately, lifting into the warm air like memory. When the mixture grows heavy, she pours it onto the counter, dusted with flour. Her hands sink into it, palms pressing and folding. The dough warm and pliant beneath her fingers. Fold, press, breathe. The bakery seems to match her pace, the quiet stretching in gentle waves around her. Bram watches with half-lidded eyes, his tail giving a single lazy sweep, as if approving the familiar morning dance. The dough softens, smooths, and takes on its autumn hue, a soft gold touched with amber. Clara gathers it into a round, covering it with a linen cloth that smells faintly of sun and last summer's breeze. As the dough rests beneath its linen cover, the scent of pumpkin and spice deepens in the still air. It drifts toward Clara like a familiar hand on her shoulder, a reminder of something soft and far away. She pauses beside the counter, letting the fragrance settle around her. A memory rises, warm as the ovens behind her. She's small again, standing on a wooden stool in her grandmother's kitchen. Leaves patter against the window, and the old radio hums quietly under the sound of autumn rain. Her grandmother stirs a bowl of pumpkin batter, the same golden color as the dough resting here now. Clara remembers the way the spoon moved, slow, steady, patient, and how she tried to match that rhythm with her tiny hands. She remembers laughter, the sweet clatter of measuring cups, and the scent of roasted pumpkin cooling on the windowsill. Bram, sensing the shift in her stillness, lifts his head and lets out a soft breath. Clara bends to scratch beneath his chin, as if thanking him for quietly sharing the memory. She warms her hands on her cup of spiced tea, letting the heat draw her back to the present, while keeping the gentle echo of the past close. Some memories feel as though they've lived in the bakery all along, waiting for mornings like this to reappear. Clara carries her cup toward the front window, drawn by the soft whisper of leaves drifting past the glass. The rain has thinned to a delicate mist, each drop catching a glimmer of muted gold as it meets the early morning light. She wipes a small circle in the fogged pane with her sleeve. Outside, the street is quiet, a ribbon of cobblestone, softened by fallen leaves. Amber, bronze, and fading copper swirl gently in the breeze, rising and falling in slow, unhurried spirals that seem to echo the rhythm of her breath. Clara presses her palm lightly against the glass. It feels cool beneath her skin, a careful contrast to the warmth at her back, where the ovens hum and Bram rests beside the counter. For a moment, she simply stands there, listening to the rain's faint tapping and the steady tick of the bakery's old clock. A single leaf glides across the window, its edges outlined in damp gold. Clara watches it linger, twirling once, twice, before it slips away into the quiet street. She takes a slow sip of her tea, letting the cinnamon settle on her tongue. The world outside feels gentle, softened, as though autumn itself is pausing with her, offering a moment of calm before the day begins in full. Clara steps back toward the work table, where bowls and jars wait in a soft scatter of flour. The first dough rests beneath its linen cover, rising gently in the warm pocket of air beside the oven. She brushes a bit of flour from her palms, then reaches for a smaller bowl. This batch is lighter: pumpkin muffins and cinnamon knots, something she loves to make on cool autumn mornings. She spoons roasted pumpkin into the bowl, its color glinting like captured sunlight. Brown sugar follows, then a sprinkle of cinnamon that drifts through the air in a delicate cloud of warm spice. When she mixes it, the spoon moves with a soft, satisfying sound, a gentle scrape against ceramic that blends seamlessly with the oven's low hum. Bram watches her from his place near the counter, ears perked, tail giving a slow, hopeful tap. He knows this part well, the moment when a stray crumb or two finds its way to the floor. Clara smiles at him, as though they're sharing a secret known only to quiet morning. She twists strips of dough into loose knots, each one dipping briefly into a small dish of cinnamon sugar before she arranges them on the tray. A few tiny grains fall onto the table, catching the lamplight like flecks of amber. The oven clicks softly as she opens it, warm air drifting outward in a wave that fills the bakery with sweet, comforting scent. She slides the tray inside, the promise of simple joy rising with the heat. The bakery settles into a deep, fragrant calm as the second batch begins to bake. Warmth spreads slowly from the oven, curling around the tables, weaving between the jars of flour and sugar, and gathering in the corners where the light grows soft. Clara pours herself another cup of tea, the pumpkin spice blend now richer, its aroma blooming warmly in the cup. She carries it to her small table by the window and sinks into the wooden chair that knows the curve of her shoulders. Outside, leaves drift in quiet patterns, moving as if guided by some gentle, unseen hand. They gather along the edges of the street, rustling softly when the breeze stirs them. The rain has nearly stopped, leaving only a delicate sheen across the cobblestones. Clara wraps both hands around her cup, letting the warmth soak into her palms. She watches the world through the fogged glass, thinking of how autumn always brings a feeling she can never quite name, a mixture of abundance and slowing down, of change arriving softly, with kindness rather than urgency. She can never quite name, a mixture of abundance and slowing down, of change arriving softly, with kindness rather than urgency. Bram shifts near the hearth, curling deeper into his blanket, snout tucked against his paws. His breathing becomes a slow, steady rhythm that blends with the faint ticking of the clock. Clara takes another sip and lets her shoulders release their last bit of tension. There is nothing she needs to do right now. Only breathe and let the quiet hour hold her. The timer gives a quiet chime, barely louder than the rustle of leaves outside. Clara rises from her chair, her movements slow and unhurried, as though the calm of the hour has settled into her bones. She opens the oven, and a warm wave of cinnamon-scented air spills gently into the room. The pumpkin muffins are puffed and golden, their rounded tops glistening with a soft sugar sheen. Beside them, the cinnamon knots have unfurled into delicate spirals touched with amber. Clara sets the trays on the counter to cool. The bread beneath the linen cloth crackles softly, its crust settling as the heat escapes. She lifts the cloth's corner, just enough to breathe in the sweet, earthy scent that feels like autumn, distilled into a single moment. Bram opens one eye, glances at her with a sleepy kind of hope, then lets it fall closed again when she strokes the top of his head. The warmth near the hearth seems to pull him deeper into his afternoon dreaming. Clara wipes the counter in slow circles, the linen towel whispering across the wood. She folds fresh cloths and places them over the cooling loaves, each gesture soft, methodical, familiar. The lamps, one by one, are turned low until the room glows in gentle amber twilight. Outside, the last of the leaves drift down the lane, gathering in golden heaps along the bakery wall. Inside, warmth lingers like a last quiet promise that this day has been enough. The bakery has grown so quiet that Clara can hear the faint brush of leaves gathering against the door. A soft hush settles over every shelf and counter, as if the room itself is breathing more slowly with the coming evening. Bram shifts in his sleep, giving one small sigh before settling again. His tail makes a single lazy tap against the floor before the warmth beside the hearth claims him fully. The glow of the lamps paints his fur in deep honey light. Clara stands in the middle of the room, hands resting lightly against the folds of her apron. The scent of pumpkin, cinnamon, and warm bread lingers in the air, softened by the faint mist that still drifts against the windows. She lets her eyes drift closed for a breath, feeling the quiet wrap gently around her shoulders. Outside, rain begins again. A slow, rhythmic patter that taps along the eaves of the bakery and slips down the panes in wandering trails. The world feels smaller now, held close by the sound of water and distant wind. Clara turns off the last lamp, leaving only the faintest amber glow from the hearth. The shadows settle, warm and deep, and the bakery eases into rest. If sleep has found you, let it keep you.